Okay. Hey everyone, here with Dan Bernstein, a participant of the Braveheart Retreat from April of 2016, and very excited to have him here. He's one of the wisest and kindest young men that I have had the pleasure of interacting with. He's very huge too. You can't tell from this, but he's a big guy. You can tell from that. There you go. But he's such a great guy to be around. And Dan, I'll just let you do a quick introduction of who you are and anything that you'd like people to know.
Cool. Yeah. I am 24. I'm from Long Island. I've been. I went, to a traditional high school. Went to Syracuse. Pretty basic. College from the Northeast. So that's the thinking models I've adopted and grown up in. And then I, went into a job that kind of picked me up, based on what I thought I was interested in, and then realized that there was no purpose behind it. It was so glamorous. I learned 2 new programming languages. I went to 7 new metropolitan cities I'd never been to. I went on all these client dinners. It was so glamorous, but then I was like, why am I so tired? Why am I so fatigued? Why am I so stressed if this is so good? Mm. And I realized that it was just busy work and not my life's work. So I resigned, and now I'm, studying positive psychology and coaching and reading like a book every week. It's awesome.
Nice. And that was so exciting for you and being a part of that transition for you. So maybe you could just share a little bit about like what had you initially join, like get into the retreat, and like what shifted for you during and since then.
Sure. Yeah. I throughout college, despite me kind of just going through the motions, I've always been interested in self-development, self-improvement, social science, organizational psychology, like that stuff. So that naturally drew me to books, that naturally drew me to workshops. One of the workshops was Landmark Education in New York, and I met one of the coaches there who was a Braveheart, and he introduced me to the Braveheart. So I was pretty adequately like primed mentally for this kind of thing. I've been on workshops before, so it was right up my alley, even though it was different, way different than all the other workshops I've taken. Yeah.
Got it. And the thing you hinted at earlier, like not being sure if the career, like not feeling totally satisfied in your career.
Yeah.
Because you came into the retreat still in that position, right?
I did.
Yeah. And so what changed?
I had essentially enough of seeing like men like 10 years older than you who seemed wildly successful on the outside. I won't say any names, but there were just people who I've talked to, and Braveheart really confirmed this, that they were prestigious, they were famous, they were wealthy, they achieved some sort of accomplishment, exterior accolade thing. And on the inside, it's like, oh, well, I watch porn every day, or I'm addicted to heroin or something. And I'd just seen too many of those. And then when I read like that, like extrinsic motivators such as fame or wealth or, any of those motivations, how there's actually a proven correlation between that, depression and anxiety, I was like, nope, seen too much of this, know too much of this. The Friday that I arrived back from Braveheart, I wrote a resignation letter. Well, I actually signed a resignation letter that I had already wrote like a month ago. I touched it up and I sent it in, and yeah, that was a Friday literally after I came back from Braveheart, and had an exit interview the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, and that takes so much courage. So again, when I say like he's one of the youngest, like wisest guys I know, just you can hear it from what Dan's already shared, that you noticed patterns, whether it's 20-year-olds or 50-year-olds or 60-year-olds, whatever age somebody is, that these extrinsic motivators at some point run out of gas.
Right.
And one of the things that we're really big about at Braveheart is being of service in some way, like in that, and that being like being connected to your life purpose. So how do you see that playing into the rest of your life?
I think what Braveheart offered is exposure into balancing the like masculine principle and the masculine essence. So all that vulnerability work that we did and how that's so related to like strength, how vulnerability is like a cornerstone in the regards of, you know, being an alpha male, which is what, you know, a bunch of guys want, or maybe want, I don't know. How it relates to me moving forward is helping guys my age and younger who have grown up in the same thinking models and the same conditioning, and like they have modeled the same parents. So, I mean, a lot of this is demographic and geographic. So I know the guys that live in Long Island. I know the guys, you know, in this general area and the schools that they want to go to. So I hope to just inform and expand what they think that they know, because I've already been through what they're about to get into. Not to say like there's anything wrong with what my path in the past. It's just, it served its purpose and now I moved on.
Yeah. Well, it reminds me of me, you know, my path until I was probably about 28 or so.
Yeah.
But like, you know, from, you know, college, 18 to 28, I was just like drinking, trying to get girls and trying to be the man, right? And get all these things outside of myself. And just totally asleep to any other possibilities.
Yeah.
So I think what you're doing for your generation is really beautiful. Being that role model.
Yeah.
So, and that brings me to my next question, which is, what makes a man to you?
Mm-hmm. So I've been listening to this song. Don't mean to deviate here from the question, but Frank Sinatra
for us, because that would be good.
I did it my way.
Yeah.
Frank Sinatra has this song, and it's called My Way, and it's like, it's just the journey that he. What greatest opportunity does a man have to confront his fears and to say what's on his mind and all this stuff? So, how I just use that quote as kind of that song is a good model, and you know, Frank Sinatra, you can't argue with that. So
yeah.
What makes a man is defining his own definitions of manhood, breaking free of the conditioning and modeling of his father, whether good or bad. You know, whether your dad beat you or he was your biggest role model, you have your own definition of that. Being comfortable with your sexuality, expressing it, and being vulnerable. I think it all really ties back to vulnerable expression, the marriage of vulnerability and then how you express your vulnerability. If you're safe doing that, then I'd drink a beer with you or whatever it is.
Yeah, and I love the vulnerability. I just put you on the spot singing, right? And you did. It was great.
Why not? Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's amazing. One thing I was thinking about, Dan, was the community. So I know for me and for a lot of other guys I've spoken to, that having the community of men that are in this conversation, that are about expressing themselves in a vulnerable way, like full expression, has really been supportive for me and my growth. But I'm curious for you, what you've noticed from the guys that you've met, and have you stayed in touch? Are you growing in some way with them, or what's the story there?
Yeah. Yeah. So I've definitely stayed in touch with, some of the Bravehearts. I'd like to stay in touch with everyone. And, but yeah, having the support of the like-minded people that I had my breakthroughs with, who got to experience the breakthroughs themselves. Like, there's something to be said about me bringing back the breakthroughs I had at Bermuda to people who are, leaders in masculinity back home, but they didn't actually get to see the breakthrough. So, yeah, I feel like everyone's kind of a phone call away. And they, as you said, like, you're holding space for what I want to do, post Braveheart. So yeah, I cannot be denied the like-minded community.
Cool. And I'm still holding for you the Tony Robbins of your generation. That's the the declaration I'm standing for. And again, if you guys actually saw Dan, you would see he's like about that tall, that big, has that much love in him. So what do you believe it means to be a Braveheart?
Just an open-ended question with an open-ended answer. Like, I guess I parallel a similar answer to how I defined manhood. Like a Braveheart is how I would define the modern 21st century alpha male. So comfortable, safe, a role model, expressive, kind of leaping into the unknown. There's an element of natural entrepreneurship that comes from leaping into the unknown. Like, ambiguity. That doesn't make me anxious. That I can actually see pattern there, and that seems like an untapped market. So there's like a visionary entrepreneur element to being a Braveheart. Just being there, being attracted to this means that you're kind of on the forefront of the next definition of masculinity. So
nice. And one thing I love about you, Dan, is that you are consistently in inquiry, questioning. So there's a questioning of everything around you, right? And I think that goes with entrepreneurs too, and visionaries, like questioning, is this the way it has to be, or is there something else there? And there's also a spiritual element to that. And I know you're a very connected guy yourself, and I'm wondering if just how spiritual growth plays into this whole conversation for you.
I have I don't think you can. I can't manage the rate at which the world comes to me, left to my own devices. So, like, being 24 and being in the information era, pretty digitally fluent, like, I still recognize that the world comes faster at me than I can handle. So without some sort of like external practice, which I'm starting to develop, mindfulness practice, of any domain, wherever you take that. So I've noticed I've had a stronger connection with like just my mind and what's above that. So I light a candle because I find that focusing on like the abundance and the awe of the world is a bit confusing, and I can't do that. So like I do object meditation, and I just non-judgmentally, non-analytically observe a candle burning with some incense, 3 times a week, and hoping to do that a bit more. But it relates. Just
got it.
Being grounded.
Nice. Cool. And then the last question I have that I ask everybody is what's the best advice you have for men that are listening?
The best advice, let's see. have some sort of like, this is going to be specific, but have some sort of external, like, capturing of your thoughts. So it can be a journal, it can be voice memos, whatever your device is. Though, what I mean by external is like a trusted collection tool for those spontaneous thoughts that come up. That's kind of like a distilled version of this great book that I just read, but it was the best that I've ever read in self-management literature. And yeah, it's just everyone's got thoughts. Often they don't come at work. They come at weird times. So like journal your memories or whatever it is. Just have an external brain, like a second mind.
Mm. And what do you find that does for you?
It helps achieve this metaphor that is kind of like, I don't know, Michael, it's now become a principle of mine, I think. No, not I think, it is. It's a metaphor, mind like water. And it's like, how does your mind respond to a pebble how does a still pond respond to a pebble being thrown into it? And the answer is totally appropriate to the velocity and the mass of which the pebble is thrown, and then it returns to calm. It doesn't overreact and it doesn't underreact. So that's kind of how I want to achieve my mind. Like I want my mind to be like water. It's just responsive and it's fluid and it's calm when it needs to be. It reacts when it needs to. And that mechanism, like that workflow of having some sort of capturing tool, like a bucket of, to collect your thoughts, just helps you achieve like less noise, more calm, and more clarity thus about what you want to do in life.
Beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
Such a good metaphor. What did I tell you guys? Wise beyond his years. Cool. So this is the wonderful Dan Bernstein. Look out for him in the future, speaking, coaching, writing books. I'm sure whatever you create will be amazing.
Thanks, man.
Thanks so much for sharing yourself and your experience with all these guys out there.
Yep.